Let's start our rosemary garlic black-eyed peas. This is a very simple recipe and it really just relies on the fresh ingredients that we have available right now. You can use fresh or frozen black-eyed peas, but you definitely want to use fresh onion, fresh garlic, fresh peppers, and fresh rosemary for maximum flavor. So let's get started. Again, this one is super easy. We're going to start just by dicing an onion and getting that in some oil to saute. Again, I'm just using these yellow sweet onions because I can right now. Vidalias, if you can still get them, would be ideal. And we're just going to dice this up, nothing fancy. If you didn't have any yellow onions, whatever onion you come across will work just fine. No need to be an onion snob on this one. What's interesting about black-eyed peas, even the dried ones, or particularly the dried ones, is you don't have to soak them. A lot of people think you have to soak black-eyed peas, but you don't. Ooh, that's hot. So we're gonna get our onion in there. And while that's working, we will go ahead with getting our garlic and bell pepper diced up. And I like to give my onions a head start so they can develop some flavor. If your bell pepper is really large, you may not want to use the whole thing. It saves some of that for later. I got one a little more. Okay, you just want to dice it kind of small like the onions. Or think about the peas. You want everything to be small because your peas are small. The onions will cook down and the pepper will too. But it's good to have everything sort of a uniform size. Okay, so these peppers get a little flavor on them. It's not nice hot oil. And I'm just using olive oil. Let some of the water evaporate up out of those vegetables so they can caramelize. Meanwhile, we'll get an insane amount of garlic ready. Maybe not insane, but this dish is heavily on the garlic. It's sort of the signature flavor. Just smashing garlic cloves, nothing to see here. That's a big one. Got a runaway here. There. Just keep working that garlic so you have it fairly minced. It's okay to run into a garlic chunk every now and then. It's delicious. Especially because these peas are going to cook for a little while, so the garlic will definitely have time to mellow out. They may not cook as long as you think, though. It depends on your preference. Some people like their black-eyed peas cooked away, basically. Other folks like their black-eyed peas to still have some shape. Somewhere in the middle, they get kind of a starchy gravy thing going on, which is kind of nice too. So cook them to your desired preference. The longer you cook them, the more liquid you're going to need to add along the way, though. Okay, that was like 6 or 7 cloves of garlic, one of which was very large. And you can see the vegetables are starting to dry out a bit in the pan. I don't have as much liquid in there as I did earlier. I'm gonna let that go a little bit further. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and get some of this rosemary together. Just unzip it right off the stem. There you go. I'm going to use a whole sprig here. Rosemary is very aromatic. I'll add some now in the cooking process and just a little bit towards the end maybe. Depends on how much rosemary flavor translates. But it is a very pungent herb, so a little goes a long way. Okay, now that a lot of the liquid has evaporated out of the vegetables, they're starting to caramelize. The onions are smelling sweet. I can see some browning happen. Let's move on by getting the garlic in there. I'm going to add just a touch more oil. I want the garlic and the rosemary to have an opportunity to kind of scent that oil. You can mince the rosemary up if you're particular that way. All right, wow, that smells amazing. We're gonna let that go ahead and cook for just a few minutes. Black eyed peas are on hand and a little bit of chicken broth or vegetable broth. You just need enough broth to really cover the peas. Okay, once you can smell the garlic, you can go ahead. The last couple of ingredients are black eyed peas, enough chicken broth or vegetable broth to cover. Perfect. And a good pinch of salt and some black pepper. We're just gonna let that cook. Low simmer. Once it comes up to a boil, just let it simmer, check on it, give it a stir every now and then. Make sure you have enough liquid in there and that nothing's sticking to the bottom of the pan, but that's really it. Delicious. All right, we'll come back and check on those guys in a little while.